Hey everybody, welcome to Marriage Moment. I'm Jason, this is my wife Renee. We've been married forever. We are not marriage counselors, not marriage experts, but we do value our marriage above everything else we own. And we want you to have the best marriage you could possibly have. And so for the last several weeks, we've been working our way through these two crazy books, For Men Only, For Women Only, written by Shaunti Feldhahn and her husband Jeff Feldman. They're old books, but have been revised recently with brand new research, a couple new chapters, and all the findings are brand new. So they surveyed thousands and thousands of married couples to figure out what makes the best marriages, how to be happy in your marriage, fulfilling, what are the basic needs going on. And so they broke them up into these two books. The For Men Only is for men to read to help us understand you guys. And the For Women Only is for y'all to get a peek inside the male brain. Yeah. And so I do have two sets of these. If you would like them, you can email me and I would love to put those in your hands because these are a valuable resource. We are just skimming the surface with these very brief videos. We're just kind of scratching the dirt, and the roots of these books go really, really deep, and they're so insightful and helpful. I would encourage you to either get a free copy, buy your own copy, or get it on Audible and listen to it because it will greatly improve your marriage, just understanding your spouse.
For sure.
So today, we're kind of halfway through this book, For Men Only, and it turns out that there's this thing in men, and it's the way God wired us, that we are driven to do. We see it as one of the most important things we will do as men, and it can really sabotage our relationship with our wife, even though we think we're giving to the marriage what the marriage needs most.
Yeah.
And that is to be a provider. It is hardwired into us by God that we as men would provide for our families, whatever that looks like. And sometimes that can take a turn where providing for the family turns into something else, but it is always kind of veiled under that banner of, well, I'm providing for my family. And it turns out, based on the research, that most women really aren't as concerned about the financial provision as they are something else. So this is going to help you ladies, and I think men too, to kind of understand that whole drive within a man to provide for his family and how it can wreck your marriage.
Yeah.
So talk to us.
Okay, so the whole chapter is talking about how one of a woman's greatest needs is security. And so men know that, when you enter into marriage or into a relationship together, the man knows that that's what the woman is expecting. Security. But a man thinks that it's financial security.
When we think security, we think dollar bills.
Yeah. Women are not exactly, that's not actually what we are expecting the most. That is an important part, but it's not the most important part. And so this is talking in this chapter about it's the emotional security that a woman needs and wants the most.
It's so valuable.
I know.
Men, your woman values emotional security over financial security.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
The way they worded the question was basically, women, would you rather you'd be okay enduring a financial hardship, financial struggles, or not having a close relationship, a close emotional relationship with your husband? They almost all, I think it was 80%, chose they would rather deal with a financial struggle if they could have closeness with their husband.
So 80% of women would rather have emotional security than financial security.
Yeah.
They would like to have both, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they had to choose, 80% said, I would choose emotional security.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So listen to this profound statement. This is directly from the book, and this makes a lot of sense when you hear it this way. For men to understand that most women, this may not be every woman, but most women are willing to sacrifice financially in order to have more of you as a man and more happiness for you. Because, we've known a lot of men that they take that job that's going to make the most money to provide the best life for their family. And even if they're unhappy in that career or that specific job.
And I think, I can't speak for all men, but the men that I know that have just poured themselves into a career, one of their motivations was, I want to provide the best life for my family. Yeah. Thinking that that's what your family needs is this big financial secure situation. And that is noble. I think it's noble for a man to do that. However, I think if more men understood what the real need for security was, we would rethink some of our career decisions.
Yeah, like you might not take a certain promotion
right.
if it's going to cause you to be gone all the time and not at home and not present, to be close with your family, most importantly your wife, then it may not be the best decision. So I think this is really a really important thing for a man to understand, why this can become a problem in a marriage, that this burden to provide, which is hardwired into a man by God, a man thinks if they work and provide for their family, it's a way to show their love to their family, to their wife and their kids. So then longer hours and more work equals more love.
Right. That's our logical conclusion.
That's a logical thing to think, and it seems like it would make sense, but it actually, the more work and the longer hours is going to pull at that marriage and take away that closeness, that the emotional security that the wife is wanting the most. Even if the bank account is really full and this relationship is not full, not close and intimate, I feel empty as a wife, even if my bank account has a lot of money in it.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. I'm in the ministry.
And I'm a teacher.
We make the big bucks.
Okay, so
as soon as YouTube monetizes accounts that have dozens of views, we'll be rolling.
Yeah, we will. I don't think we have to worry. So this is so cool because this gets really practical. It's going to give us 5 ways of what security means to the wife.
Yeah, so check these out, man. These are really important. When you begin to understand what security looks like in your wife's brain, it will change the way you think, and it will probably change the way you make decisions about upcoming situations in life.
Yeah, about work.
For sure.
So the first one, and this is so big, this is that your wife feels secure when you feel close. When there is closeness and intimacy, the wife wants to know that she is the man's love and best friend, not best girlfriend. Not that we want to sit around and talk and do girl things. That's not what that's saying. That I know that you know me and that I know you and that we are close and intimate and we are best friends. We have little quirky things about our relationship. We have little funny jokes but just between us. Just things like that that make us best friends. When I know that, I can endure all kinds of financial hardship and other things. So that is number one. And the way, if you feel like this is a problem and you don't have this closeness and this intimacy, just best friend things, it's said in the book, it's all the little things that you do daily.
I think that was a big one because you can't just overnight create this environment in your marriage where you feel close. And that doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. That happens with repeated successful little things over time. Yeah. And so if that's something that's not going on in your marriage right now and you would like for it to, it's so easy to start. Send a text, make a phone call, say something, put on your to-do list, I'm going to contact my wife just to tell her how much I love her today. Yeah. Just do something that would foster that environment of creating closeness. And the more little things you do over time, the more that relationship grows closer together.
Right.
It does not happen overnight.
Right. And I'm glad you said that because I think we have probably a lot of listeners that are maybe like newlyweds, like very new into marriage or new in a relationship. And this just takes time. This has changed so much for us over 32 years, almost 33. our relationship is so different than what it was in the very beginning. But we had to go through all those years and some of the hardship and some of the things that just have molded us together and made us best friends. But we had to work on that. We had to become a student of each other and know what each other likes and know what makes us tick. And it's because we've researched and read and listened and gone to marriage retreats, and we wanted to do this because our marriage is our most valuable possession.
Yeah, and I think the point is, and we've said it a ton on these videos, if you've watched any of these videos, we always say that a great marriage never happens by accident.
No.
And it's the same for this, creating an environment where she feels secure emotionally. It doesn't happen accidentally. It only happens when you're purposeful and intentional about making that happen.
Right. And they mentioned in this part that this does not mean that a man can't have guy friends and do guy stuff. It's just that I have to be, like for us, there is no other person in your life that is as close to you as me.
Correct.
As a friend and a lover. And so that has to be where we stand, and I have to know that that's where we stand. And so that's a big one.
Number two,
when you make time together a priority. So I remember we've talked about this before on the videos, that when the kids were all little and you loved golf and you knew you had your job and I had my job and we had the kids, we had 4 kids at home, and you just had to decide, I'm just going to have to put golf to the side for a while, for years actually. And you've just recently gotten back into that now that the kids are all grown. And so you put that aside because you knew time together for us and with the kids was such an important thing at that time in that season of our life. So you made it a priority. So that's what this is talking about, that your wife needs to know that she and the kids, if you have a family, are the priority, and that time spent together is so much more important than making more money and getting more things and being involved in, sports or whatever it is that's a hobby. Some of those things may have to be put on hold in order to have this be a priority.
I think this is true for all marriages, but especially true if your wife's love language is quality time.
Yeah,
better figure that out real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Third way your wife feels secure.
Okay, when you demonstrate your commitment. So she needs to know that you will do whatever you need to do to ensure that nothing is coming between us. Nothing. That we are solid. So this just mentioned, remember back to what we've learned already so far. When there's a conflict, when there's a time of maybe you're just not feeling close or something's happened, reassure. Put your arm around her and say, we're okay. We are good. I'm upset, but we're good. I'm not going anywhere. That is what our heart needs to hear. And that shows security for us. Number 4 is when you're active in parenting and in the life of the home.
Whoa.
So this is where it was talking about too, that sometimes you have to choose to rework priorities. Maybe you can't just be involved in everything, especially at work. Sometimes you need to take the job that is not going to require 80 hours, 100 hours a week, because you have a family at home and your wife needs you. And when you take an active role in that parenting, it shows us, it just speaks to our emotional security. It's really important. And then the 5th one was when you make an effort to provide. That is another way of showing us security. When you're working hard,
just making the effort.
Yeah, just
trying.
giving effort. It makes us feel loved. So that part about providing for the family that is hardwired from God, that is a way that you're showing us security. And it speaks to our security and our need when you provide for us. And I think it's really important for women to let their man know that they're so thankful and that they notice that you're doing that. So this one part of the very end of that chapter, I wanted to be sure we talked about it because I don't know that every man truly knows this. That a wife wants her husband to be happy in his job and wants him to have, his guy friends and his time with the guys and do some things that he enjoys, even when life is crazy and busy. We want you to be happy, and I don't know that we're good at letting you know that. So it just said in the book, if there's a job that's lower pay, but you're happy, that's what we would want you to choose. If it's a job that's not going to take as much time so that you can be with us at home, that makes you happy, that's what we want for you and for our family. So this one statement, especially couples that have kids at home, raising teenagers, raising young kids, you have a busy life. It mentioned that as our children grow up and as we age, our best memories will not center around all the cool things that we were able to buy or how big our house was. It's going to be all this life that we have shared together, all the daily moments that have added up. And man, that rings true for us, having raised 4 children, and here we are in an empty nest. The things that we remember are not the things that we had and the houses that we lived.
I don't remember the things we bought or
No.
the moment our bank account hit a certain number. We don't remember those days, but we do remember, kids things and events and sad things, but the things that make us a family aren't the things that we buy.
Mm-hmm. And I think if we asked each one of our kids, that would be their answer. All those memories that we share, not the things we had. So there was a cute thing at the end, but I think it's very, it's pretty profound, and I think couples probably the man needs to think about this. That is your family seeing you as happy dad or happy husband, or are they seeing you as grumpy dad, grumpy husband because of all of your work to try to provide for your family because you think that's the way you're showing your love? At the end of the day and at the end of all these years of your children being, growing up, are they going to remember you as happy or grumpy and, workaholic type? That we really have to think about that as a man, I think.
For sure.
So that bottom line of this whole chapter was that men hold the key to their wife's sense of security, and especially when you're going through hard times, to remember these ways that we were showing security, emotional security for the wife.
So I want to just go off on a tangent, but stay with me.
Okay.
So where we live in Artesia, we are blessed with some really, really good leaders in our community, but specifically in our school system where you work. And I don't know all the details, but I know the general story of one of our leaders who had, I would assume, a lucrative financially position, definitely a very prestigious position in our town, leading, coaching, and his family adopted a foster kid. And instead of staying in his big position, he said, you know what, I'm going to resign from this and do something different so that I can spend more time with my new family. And every time I hear that story or I see that guy or I talk about it, it resonates with me that there are people that we know, people that you can look to today, who have said, I would rather choose good time with my family than a prestigious or lucrative position, because at the end of the day, it's my marriage and my kids that matter the most, not what position I hold, not how much money I'm making, not what it says on the door of my office. And all those things are important, but your family, your marriage, the most important thing. I would assume this will be, if you'll let it, a good conversation for couples, because obviously we're speaking in generalities and not everybody feels the same. But it's definitely something to consider, that your wife's sense of security is focused on her emotional security way more than her financial security. And so we need to rethink our decisions and make sure they're in line with building up our marriage. That's the bottom line. Great.
Really good.
We're done. See ya. Turn it off.